Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery with IIMFL and Smart Money Alliance. It's my pleasure to visit with you this morning. We get together most weekday mornings at this time at 8 o'clock Central or a minute or so before and talk about different topics and tactics and strategies and success stories. Today, we're going to discuss a topic that I was asked to put together back when I was a SCORE mentor. Some of you are familiar with SCORE. It's a nonprofit organization, a national organization of volunteers that mentor small business owners and helping them start and grow. And so several years ago, I was a SCORE advisor. I no longer am, and was the workshop chair for a 14 county area in North Texas, in the Dallas area. And this topic, I was assigned it by the folks there at SCORE, and I hesitantly accepted, but as I thought about it and contemplated it and assembled it, I think it's powerful. And I think it's going to be more powerful than maybe your first impression. So if you hear me through, then you can tell me here at the end what your conclusion is. I know that this topic is timely and needed because we work with so many clients and so many clients that are enrolled in the Access to Capital program. And in some cases, their thought process is just a little bit off in terms of maybe what would allow them to be optimally successful. So let's go ahead and dig in. I know the screen is just half visible now. I'm going to pull the actual agenda here in a minute. But right now I want to review the intro or the teaser that went out this morning and have a little bit of discussion off of it. All right, so without exaggeration, I really do believe that this is a very relevant topic, and I hope that you'll agree at the conclusion of our time together. The topic is money repair, and we chose that back at SCORE because people often think about credit repair. I need credit repair. And what that denotes is, well, their credit's not optimal, so it needs to be changed so they have better borrowing capacity. Well, the truth is a lot of people need money repair, and we're going to talk through that today. And this is not a judgment. At no point as we're having this discussion should you have some uneasy feelings about this, because it's going to be factual and relevant information. So again, hear me out. So what we're going to discuss today, and we're going to have a little bit of interaction for a moment, is on this. So we believe that being broke is a choice, and it's often a painful one. But I think we need to stop right here before we go any further and define what is broke, because broke can mean different things. We don't mean destitute, homeless, and not making light of people that are in that difficult circumstance. But I'd like each of you to respond, define what broke means to you, and you'll just type it into the question and answer box on Zoom. What does broke mean to you? What is broke? How would you define being broke? Because this is a crucial underlying concept before we move forward. We need to define what broke is. All right. So Ken says living paycheck to paycheck, and I would agree. We work with a lot of people that make a lot of money. So I'm not saying that they don't have a lot of earnings, that they don't make a lot of money, that they're not smart, they're not hardworking. It's just whatever's going out is as much as coming in. And so there's nothing left over. So thank you, Ken, for that explanation. I would agree with that completely. Sterling says without adequate cash resources. And I think that's largely true. You know, we all should have an emergency fund for sure. And then, of course, throughout life, as we get older, we should be accumulating more assets. Now, of course, life has its ups and downs, and often we'll have to rebound from setbacks. That's understood. But throughout life, we should be focused, as Ken mentioned, not just on working to make money to pay bills, which is, of course, minimally necessary. I guess the definition of broke is if we're not making enough to at least pay our bills, that would certainly mean broke. But as Ken mentioned, if all we're doing is earning enough to pay our bills, we're not getting ahead. Well, what does getting ahead mean? And I'm not here to sell you investment advice or retirement plans or anything else, but we need to be accumulating assets as we get older, right? Ideally, they could be income producing assets, so we could stop working at some point and our money's making us money, by having rental properties or what have you, or stocks, what have you. But certainly, if we don't have adequate cash resources, especially to do the basic things that we want to do, to put a down payment on a car, down payment on a house. Some business loans don't do 100% financing, like the SBA. The SBA wants you to show that you're putting some equity in the game. And so we often will see people that come to us and they want to borrow X amount of money from with the SBA loan. Well, that's fine, but the SBA is going to say, well, are you contributing anything? And some people have no cash resources to contribute. So I agree with what Sterling said. The definition of broke could include without adequate cash resources. That's just a little bit of a wild card because it depends upon what you want to do. You and I could go decide to go build a new semiconductor plant, and we would need millions of cash resources. So that would be a much larger amount that most of us wouldn't have. Herman agrees, living paycheck to paycheck. And again, it's not necessarily about if we have a little paycheck or a big paycheck, but if we're spending all that's coming in, we're not getting ahead. All right. Ashley says a temporary state of not having enough money. Yeah. Okay. So we've had a number of answers, and I don't have time to go through all those. Anna Marie hits a good one, and it's maybe more tangible. She says not having money in the bank, because again, life has its ups and downs. We all know that, but we need to be on an upward trajectory. And so we certainly need to be accumulating cash or at least assets. And that's why we look at the personal financial statement for clients in week 2 of the access to capital, because it's an assessment of their net worth. And for some lenders, and I know this, I've sat down with the president of a bank. I took him to lunch at a country club, and I said, I just want to pick your brain. And I said, when you're reviewing loan applications, what's the first thing that you look at? And he said, I look at their personal financial statement. I want to see their net worth. That was the first thing that he looks at, more than income, more than credit reports. He wants to see their net worth. Okay, so on number 1, in our society, well, there may be some injustices and inequalities and such, but in general, we have the ability to not be broke. But there's a lot of people that are broke, and we're going to dig through maybe some ways to move from the less desirable position to more desirable. So let's move on. The second important thing that we're going to talk about today, and we see this frequently, and it happened a couple times yesterday, which was probably the catalyst for us having this discussion today, is we'll have really great people that come to us and they don't have enough cash flow coming through, and they want to borrow money that's inconsistent with their cash flow position. And so I understand, I'd like to use one example. We have a client that we helped get $1.2 million to start a franchised restaurant. It's at Gatti's, G-A-T-T-I, pizza and entertainment venue. 1.2 million was the total amount of capital. Well, this gentleman didn't have 1.2 million to start his restaurant. And so in that case, we needed to get a loan to be able to fund that. And we did that. It's open, and it's in Tyler, Texas. You could go have pizza and play video games there now if you wanted. So I do understand that for some business models that we need an injection of capital to be able to start or grow to reach our potential. That's clear. But so often we'll see folks that come to us and their business is pre-launch or early stage, and really it's not debt that they need. They need sales for their small business. They need to be able to go sell some product or sell some service to be able to generate earned income. So again, I'm admitting that there's some business models that are more complicated. If we want to go out and buy a commercial office building, we can't just dabble on that. We have to have the money to go buy the office building. But my point here on number 2 is that I think a lot of people get in a tough circumstance and they want to borrow their way out of it versus realizing, I probably need more earned income. I need more cash flow. I really have a money problem that needs to not just be solved by borrowing more money that I might not be able to afford to pay back, but in fact, I need more cash flow. We'll talk about the best solution for a money problem, and quite frankly, I tipped you off to that. It's earned income. It's cash flow. But we'll get to that once we open up the agenda here officially in a minute. We'll talk about access to capital, and we've been through this, right? We know that there are the 3 C's. If you want to borrow money, there are different sources of capital that have different underwriting criteria, but there's the 3 C's: creditworthiness, cash flow, collateral. Do you have to have all 3? No. Do you have to have at least one of the 3 to borrow money? You do. And so obviously improving cash flow is going to increase your access to capital, and we'll talk more about that once I officially bring the agenda up here. There are only 2 ways to fix a money problem, not 3, not 4. We're going to go through both of those here momentarily. I hate the word scam because I think it's so overused, but if we were to try to define scam, I guess it's something different in reality than what is in writing. So if you bought a service contract for your new Apple iPhone, and they promised to cover certain things in the agreement, because almost always in business there's going to be agreements in writing, and so that's what dictates, not what you thought it was, but what is it in writing. So you have the terms and conditions of your Apple iPhone contract. And I guess I would argue, if you dropped it and they didn't fix it or replace it, and it says that they should in the agreement, they've taken your money, then I guess that's a scam. There's an inconsistency between the written agreement and the implementation of that. I think, unfortunately, a lot of people use the word scam in a very illiterate fashion. And so but we certainly, if we're trying to solve a money problem, we don't want to throw good money after bad and make mistakes and dig a deeper hole. So we're going to talk about that. On the 7th item that we're going to talk about, I really believe that it's easy in our society to get an employee mindset. And an employee mindset is, I need to get a job, and the more I make per hour, the better. And it'll all work out. And oh no, I could never make a whole lot of money. But the truth is, trading time for money rarely is going to work out. And we'll talk about that here in a minute. A good job, people will leave one job for the next to make an extra $5 an hour. Well, do the math on that. Even if you made an extra $5 an hour over a year's time, hopefully now your cash flow is better, so you're saving money. But we can be lured into 401ks and these other hopes of retirement, Social Security, but most people don't have near enough money to retire off of, and just earning a little bit of income throughout life is probably not going to get you in a very fortunate position. So it's choice, right? We all have choices, but don't fool yourself to think that each of us make a choice. Do I want to make a lot of money, or do I want to make a little bit of money? Probably we'll spend about the same amount of time out of our lives, out of a given work week, making a little money or a lot of money. And there's some ways we can make a lot of money versus little money. So we need to avoid these self-limiting thoughts and constraints. And then we're going to talk about, ultimately, we need a plan, right? So let me go ahead and pull up the agenda, and we're going to start working through these items. And again, I probably should have put SCORE's logo on here, because this was developed in conjunction with SCORE several years ago. And of course, it's evolved since then. But nonetheless, let's get going. So you should see now the agenda on the topic. We're going to talk about money repair. So what's the problem? Many people have a money problem. They don't have an adequate amount of incoming cash flow to meet their personal and or business needs. And so I guess that would be our definition of broke. So what are symptoms of being broke? We're not saving money. We're using too much of our credit cards. You know, we have clients so often that come to us and they've got their credit cards charged up, and that reduces their credit score, so they have limited borrowing capacity. Well, even though they may have great income and be smart people and all that, if they're not able to pay, because what you want to keep in mind is there's different types of debt. I was talking to Mark Laredo, who is with BBVA Compass. He's a vice president, not the president of the bank I was talking about earlier, which was a different bank. And so I was sitting in Mark Laredo's office, and he brought up a really interesting point. He clarified that there's different lending instruments for different purposes. So let's talk about both lines of credit, which is really what Mark was talking about, as well as credit cards. So lines of credit and credit cards are not designed to be maxed out. They're meant to be ebb and flow. So you use it when you need it and you pay it down. If you need a larger amount of money on a longer term basis, that's what a term loan is for. A normal loan that's spread out over a longer period of time. And frankly, often the interest rate would be lower. What Mark had explained to me is there at BBVA Compass, when they do set up lines of credit for small businesses, they monitor it. And if that business is using a large amount of that line of credit consistently, they may shut it down because that's not what it's designed to do. Well, some people are too reliant on credit cards. Not everyone has lines of credit. And so money problems can be defined in summary. We'll move on. Either we're not accumulating assets through our life, we don't have a cushion, we're not paying our bills on time, and even as simple as we're carrying too high of credit card balances and we lack the ability to pay those down. Okay, so there's the problem. The fallacy, and I hinted towards this a moment ago. Too many people, I'm not saying you, but I think too many people want to take the easy way out. And it's like, oh, I've got a money problem, I'm going to solve it by borrowing more money. But typically that's not the answer. So is it smart to borrow money to start or grow a business? Absolutely. It's called leverage, right? Some of the most of the most successful entrepreneurs in our nation's history have borrowed money to be able to invest it in their business, and then they grew their net worth, their wealth, their cash flow through leverage. So that's smart. But that's different than just saying, man, I don't have enough money right now, I need to borrow some more money. That's probably not the answer in many circumstances. And so often we see that with clients that come to us. So what are the truths? First of all, the best solution for a money problem is to earn more income. Now, not everyone likes that, because hypothetically borrowing money is easier to get. You know, you've got a heck of a burden to pay it back, but earning income is the way that the system works. We go out and we either deliver pizzas, we clean houses, whatever it is that we do to create value in society. We generate income, and we generate more income to be able to resolve our money problems. And so we have to be of that concept. There's many of our clients that we've talked to that their business model, frankly, is not dependent on an injection of debt to make sales. Again, the Gaddy's Pizza is different, right? If he didn't have 1.2 million, if all we could have gotten him was 1 million, his pizza restaurant would have never opened, because he had to pay for the franchise fee and build out the space and all of that. But for many of the small businesses we work with, it's almost apathy. It's just they're not making any sales. And so somehow when they get a big injection of capital, they're going to start to make sales. And even some of our joint venture partners, some of our affiliates, some of our credit literacy educators will hit us with that. Well, if I just had that 100,000, then I could make some money. I think there's a break there, because either we're qualified enough to go get a loan or we're going to have to work together to meet the credibility requirements to get funding. But between now and then, it would be smart to earn income somehow, some way. Even if it's not the ultimate desired way, we need earned income because earned income is going to resolve our money problems. So earned income is great because it doesn't have to be paid back. It's sustainable, and it's key for profitability. You can't borrow enough money for a business to become profitable. So I know that we guarantee, and we do guarantee, it's in writing, it's a promise that we will help any small business that enrolls in access to capital raise at least $100,000. Have no question about that. However, even if we gave every applicant to the access to capital program $100,000 on day one, they signed up and we just wired them $100,000, which is too good to be true. But let's just say that happened. Would that make their business profitable? No. Ultimately, they're going to have to make some product or provide some service and charge more than their expense structure to make a profit. So we can't ignore the importance of generating profit for our business. Now, this third bullet's very important, and I wrestled with how to present it to you this morning. So, does a business have to have earned income to be able to borrow money? No, it doesn't. So I don't want to misrepresent it. But let's not be foolish or naive. The more earned income that our business has, the more borrowing capacity we have. Well, why would that be the case? Well, because we have demonstrated to the lender or extender of credit that there's enough money coming through that we can afford to pay it back. So again, let's go use the Gaddy's example. Gaddy's Pizza wasn't open. Guy needed $1.2 million, which was funded, and he's open now. Again, you can go eat there if you want. But the point is, in that case, it was kind of an all or nothing. But so when he borrowed the $1.2 million, we had a strong enough business plan and financial projections, and he was credible enough that the lender made the loan. But if we have an operating business, because he was pre-revenue, pre-launch, pre-formation, he needed to buy the franchise and build it out. But if we have an existing business and we have no money coming through, we're going to have a really good business plan and financial projections to convince the lender or the extender of credit that, okay, well, we're really struggling now, but you just give us some money and guess what? We're going to be able to pay you back even though we're struggling now. So is it plausible? Of course, but we're going to have to build a really good story. I just think a lot of early stage small businesses, their business is struggling and they think, oh, if I just borrow money, I will resolve that struggle. And I guess it might affect help their immediate need for cash, but it doesn't look very plausible from the lender's perspective if you have a small struggling business, unless we can really create a good story, business plan and financial projections of how this injection is going to be used to grow our business. And a bit redundant, but just to summarize. So not all sources of capital require demonstrated cash flow. In general, we can get a client, we'll say the average range, $20,000 to $50,000 quickly without any demonstrated cash flow. But it comes back to what I've said many times. There are different sources of capital. They each have their own underwriting criteria. And so if we have demonstrated cash flow, of course, we're going to have greater borrowing capacity. And that, again, reflects back to the point we're having, is that many of us need money repair. We need the cash flow to optimize our borrowing capacity. Again, why is that relevant? The lender wants an assurance that you can afford to pay them back. Let's use an example. So if you went out and you wanted to go buy a new Porsche 911, I see it's not mine, but I see a white one right out the window here. I could take a snapshot if you wanted. It's parked next to my office. So if you wanted to go buy that new Porsche 911, they're going to look at your income and say, can you afford to pay for it? I know with business financing, it's a little bit different because we're borrowing money to grow a business. But ultimately, the lenders of the mindset, am I lending this applicant more money than what they can afford to pay back? And if it's not currently within our current cash flow environment to support the debt that we're wanting to get, then we're going to have to create a strong case through the business plan and financial forecast. Again, I know this is redundant, but it's important. That's why loan packages are so crucial, is that we're going to explain to them logically why, if they loan us that amount of money that we really can't afford to pay back now, that there's a high level of certainty that we'll be able to pay it later based upon how we're going to use those funds. Okay, so what are some of the secrets? Well, fixing a money problem is actually quite easy, because you can see where we're going. For most people, the solution to fixing a money problem is more earned income. But actually, there are two ways to fix a money problem, and I mentioned that over here on number 5. We can decrease expenses, so we can spend less, and that's true for our household or for a business. If we kept cash flow steady, but we decreased expenses, that would improve the spread between the two, and that could help with our money problem. But that number 1 is more painful. And so I think many of us have owned businesses or worked for businesses where we had to lay staff off when times got leaner. And so that's an example of decreasing expenses. But in general, what we should focus on is increasing income. You know, we don't want to go into the restaurant and have to worry how much something is on the menu. We want to generate enough cash flow that we can buy, within reason, whatever is on the menu. And the way that we get into that position is increasing income, not by just cutting a few channels off of our cable bill. So increasing income, and there's only 2 ways to increase income. You either do more of what you're doing now, and this is crucial, so we're going to pause on this for a second. Each entrepreneur or person in life, we'll just make it general, person in life has to stop and say, okay, is what I'm doing, does it have me on track to get me from where I am to where I want to be? Where would I want to be? I want to have my debt paid off. I want to have a lot of cash in the bank or cash-like equivalents. I want to have economic security. I want to have proper asset protection in case I die or become disabled or become sick. You know, it's all those things. So we need to stop and be realistic. We so often have clients that are pre-launch in their business, but they're working a job. And so they're busy working their job, but they're not getting ahead. In no way are they currently on a trajectory to get out of being broke. So it's up to each individual circumstance to decide, okay, if I want to increase income, either what I'm doing now is fine, I just need to do more of it. I need to work more hours or whatever to turn up the volume. Or secondly, which is most common, I need to do something a little bit different, because the plan I'm following, the trajectory I'm on, is probably not going to get me from where I'm at to where I need to be. I need to do something different. As I alluded to earlier, our society, and again, I used to be a high school teacher, so I taught accounting and economics and a couple other courses. Economics, it was my favorite because it was a required class for all seniors. So I had a lot of seniors. It was just a 1-semester class. It wasn't a full year of their senior year. So I had pretty much the whole senior class, either the first half of the school year or after Christmas in the second half. And there's just a lot of naivety of our youth, because our system is designed to teach people, go get a job. And again, you know, we have a lady we talked to yesterday. She's recently out of high school. She went to college for 1 year. She became an LVN, which is fine. I mean, that's credible, right? Right now, she's got job offers to make $31 an hour. I mean, it's that's not a bad hourly income. But still yet, that is a small amount of money. And so unless you have incredible skills to earn a crazy amount of money per hour, an hourly wage or even a salary is typically not going to get someone to being unbroke or having financial freedom, or, and I don't mean that in a generic sense, just having enough money to really to be in a good situation. And then lastly, as I did allude to before as well, I think sometimes people think, well, earning a lot of money is going to take a lot of time, but look around. You see people that work a whole lot that may work 1, 2, or 3 jobs that make a little amount of money. So it's partially mindset. It's like, what vehicle are we in? If we're on a tricycle, can we get from here to Miami, Florida? I guess hypothetically, it would be a long journey, a painful journey. Or could we go sit in the Porsche 911 that's sitting out here on the street and drive to Miami? Be a lot faster, a lot more comfortable. So we have to make decisions of what vehicle we're in, and then have realistic expectations of what we can accomplish with the vehicle. So often we see people that are in a slow moving, inefficient vehicle, and they wonder why they're broke. Well, that vehicle is probably never going to get them unbroke. In terms of avoiding scams, we need to think carefully. I hate the word scam, but let's dig more into it. So does anything cost money? Is that a scam? No. I mean, again, let's use the Gaddy's Pizza. I forget now, of the 1.2 million, how much of that was the franchise fee. It was a smaller amount, but I'm sure it was 6 figures. So is Gaddy's Pizza, or is Domino's Pizza, or is Denny's, or any of these franchises, McDonald's, is it a scam because they charge you to work with them? Of course not. A scam, again, is an inconsistency between the written agreement and what actually happens. But in general, business opportunities that charge, you really need to stop and think carefully about that, because you may be throwing good money after bad. So ultimately, if we're in a position of being broke, for all the definitions that we've offered, we need a plan to earn more income to get out of that position. Dave Ramsey, I believe, is the one that's known for saying, hey, if you're broke, go, deliver pizzas, go be a waitress or a waiter at a restaurant, because those are 2 examples where you can make more than just an hourly wage. With tips, you could earn an above average income. We have people that, you see people that clean other people's houses, and they could make the equivalent of $50 or more per hour, because they're not really being paid on an hourly basis. They're being paid on a job per job basis. Well, what you and I offer people is the ability to become an affiliate partner. There's no cost to become an affiliate partner. They don't have to buy anything now. They don't have to buy anything later. Now, is when you recruit sub-affiliates, you get paid overrides. We're not network marketing, we're not MLM, but affiliate models often pay overrides. And so as you're helping people become unbroke, they're going to make money. And guess what? You're going to make passive income as an affiliate. That's pretty powerful. The proposition of becoming an affiliate does not have any selling. We just had a recent training. We talked about that. All we do is help people see if they qualify. It takes 2 to 3 minutes, and we're helping entrepreneurs see if they qualify for a guaranteed $100,000 from a 501c3 nonprofit to start or grow a business. We provide the landing page for free for the affiliates. And so when you're out there talking to people and you realize they have a money problem, I'm trying to pull it together now. When you're out talking to people and you see that they have a money problem, ask them if they would be open to a new stream of income. And that stream of income would be becoming an affiliate partner under your hierarchy. So then they're going to go out, they're going to make on average around $2,000. Takes them about 5 minutes of work to pre-qualify someone. And we have a whole separate training that goes in more details of that than what I'm going through today. But you're getting paid on average $1,000 for every conversion that they have. Again, the affiliate partner role is free. It's easy. We've got step-by-step instructions, and it's right there on iimfl.org on careers. So what I'd like to do is get feedback from each of you on what we've covered today regarding some more conceptual, strategic discussion on money, and then also how you have the key to the ignition of that Porsche 911 that's sitting outside. And it's the nice one. It's got the convertible top. you've got the keys to the Porsche, right? You can go add new sub-affiliates. They'll become an affiliate partner, cost you nothing, cost them nothing. They can follow the very simple step-by-step instructions that we've provided. They can help people see if they qualify for a guaranteed $100,000 from our 501c3 to start or grow a business. They're going to make on average $2,000, and you're going to make on average 1,000 of override for every conversion they have. If you can think of a better side gig than this, let me know. But I don't think you're going to ever deliver enough pizzas or clean enough houses or work enough hours to be able to add what could be reasonably thousands of dollars a week. Worst case scenario, thousands of dollars a month. All right, so let's get to your Q&As here and see what questions, comments, concerns that any of you have. Scrolling down here. Okay, I don't see any questions at this time, so I'll do a quick wrap up and then we'll be back tomorrow morning. So our topic today was about money repair, and the issue is clarifying that you're going to run into a lot of small business owners and a lot of people in general that have a skewed perspective. They don't know what you and I know, and so they're operating off of a set of false assumptions. And so with that, many people have money problems. You have the solution to that. If they're looking to get money to start or grow a business, of course, we can help them with the Access to Capital program. You can see if they qualify in a couple minutes, cost them nothing to enroll, and they can even become a sub-affiliate as well. We guarantee them $100,000. That's fine. We've talked about the fallacies and the truths of money, and that the bottom line is that it is easy to resolve money problems if we have a good plan. And the good plan needs to meet a lot of these criteria that we've talked about. We need to avoid scams. We need to look for vehicles that's the appropriate vehicle, like the 911, to get us from here to Miami comfortably and quickly. So many people are on the tricycle pedaling and wondering why they're not getting to Miami very quickly. All right, so let's see if there's any questions before we wrap it up. All right, Herman asked about conversions. As an affiliate, there's no cost. Oh, I just deleted that accidentally. So Herman, there is no cost to become an affiliate. There's no minimum production requirements to become an affiliate. There's nothing that you need to purchase to be an affiliate. You can recruit sub-affiliates for free. We provide them and we provide you a free landing page. We have the step-by-step training that's on the career page at IIMFL that shows how simple it is. There's no sales involved, no selling involved. We just simply help small businesses, whether they be pre-launch, startup, or existing. We help them in about 2 to 3 minutes to see if they qualify for a guaranteed $100,000, regardless of personal credit scores, regardless of time in business. In other words, there's no minimum personal credit scores to qualify for the Access to Capital program. There's no minimum time in business. So the answer to your question, Herman, is there are no production requirements for our affiliates. So there's really no catch. And it's okay that you all are thinking, well, what's the catch? There's not. No cost to be an affiliate, no minimum production, nothing you need to buy. You can have sub-affiliates you make overrides off of. The landing pages are free. So again, I don't know if this is the right vehicle for each of you to become either unbroke and or meet your financial goals. I don't know. You'll have to decide that. I would almost sit down with a piece of paper and figure out what are my options. And put this as one of the options, and maybe it's the right one, maybe it's not, but it's significant, it's real, it certainly isn't a scam. Again, people love to throw the term scam around, but I think the way to define a scam, one more time, is there an inconsistency between written agreement and implementation? If so, yeah, let's call that a scam. But a scam is not someone coming up in their own mind what it should be. and then saying, oh, well, it doesn't match that. Because most legitimate businesses, and certainly ours, all of our agreements are in writing. Not some of them, all of our agreements are in writing. All of our agreements have an arbitration provision. If our clients, or like you, distribution partners, are not 100% satisfied, both parties agree to sit down with an arbitrator. We've had zero, not one, zero arbitration claims in all the time that we've been doing business. So that is a measure of, I think, a compliant business. All right, so with that being said, we're going to go ahead and end the training. If you have other questions or comments, of course, you can reach out to us. But hopefully today was helpful in putting together a conceptual understanding that you're going to run into a lot of small businesses that have money problems, and that getting them to become a sub-affiliate of yours may be a great answer or part of the solution to help them move from having a money problem to not. Thank you so much, and we'll see you back tomorrow morning. Have a good day.